So, today I thought we would give the Lavaner Pro 2 kilowatt its first run up and see how it runs, how it sounds, what the carbon monoxide levels are on it from a factory setting. Haven't touched any settings in it, haven't tuned it. This is how it came out of the box. I have just put it in the all-in-one housing in there, sat a fuel tank on it, put an exhaust on it and an air filter, and we will turn it on, run it up to max power. I have a decibel meter on a tripod over there and I'll tell you what it says, and then so we'll do that for low power, full power, and then I'll swap this unit out and I'll put the standard, you know, bog standard cheapest 5 kilowatt in, and I'll do the same. I'll give same exhaust, same air filter, same setup, and I'll give you the same decibel, well, not, obviously not the same decibel readings, or it might be. I'll give you a low power decibel reading and a high power decibel reading. Personally, I expect the decibel readings to be the same, but I expect the heaters to sound different. Because in my experience, I have found that the smaller body heaters sound louder than the bigger body heaters, because the smaller ones, it's a higher frequency because everything's smaller. So the bigger it is, the lower the frequency. Imagine like I don't know, like a 20cc two-stroke Strimmer engine versus a 200cc two-stroke engine. Small, annoying, buzzing engine versus an engine that sounds not too bad. Right, I suppose we better just fire it up and let it run up to temperature and do the things. For the astute amongst you, you may have noticed I am not wearing my customary bright orange overalls. I'm wearing my cycling top because I was out riding my bike. I'm not wearing that because just now it is... Can we zoom in on this? In the workshop at the moment, it is 30 and a bit degrees. It's hot in here. Right, let us press the buttons. Zoom out, thank you very much. Go. On she goes. I'll bring you back. Okay, we are running at maximum power at the moment. I've unplugged my lapel mic and you're now hearing, well, via the camera's microphone, so inside the big metal shed. We've reached, well, we're at 14 volts and at full power it's pulling 3.5 amps. Carbon monoxide, I'm going to test over here roughly. So approximately 30 parts per million. Right, did you even get to see the 30 parts per million there? Take it from me, 30 parts per million, which it's not terrible. It is not terrible. So we're at full just now. Decibel reading, hold on. Between 67 and 69 decibels. That's about the same distance the camera is away, so like 1.5 meters. The decibel sensor meter is over there. That's what we've got, 67 to 69 decibels. I'll now take it down to minimum power. Okay, we are now at low settings and 14 volts and 0.7 amps, so 500, 600 milliamps. She's pulling that. Let's do a carbon monoxide. Approximately 10 parts per million. 10 parts per million. And now for a decibel check. Between 53 and 55 decibels. I have to say one thing. That is a loud fuel pump. The ticking of that fuel pump is the loudest thing about this here at the moment. And it might just be the fuel pump, because some of the other 22s I've got are not as loud as that one. that is a loud pump. Right, so that's it. We've seen it running high and low, and when we're doing the 5 kilowatt one, I'm going to do a bit of switching forwards and back between the two heaters running at high, so you can compare the sound difference to see how they sound differently. So let's set up the big heater. Okay, we've got the 5 kilowatt set up now, running. This is it. Oh, hold on, wait a minute. Just in case the extractor fan was fucking with your sound there. So this is it. Stock controller, stock settings, decibels. (67 to 69 decibels). The carbon monoxide's deadly. We'll just go with deadly. She's deadly. I'll turn it down to minimum power now. Alright, here we are at minimum power. I might have to take it back about the Lavaner fuel pump. Yeah, that one's pretty much just as loud. Perhaps after all these years I just hadn't actually noticed how bad they were. Okay, so minimum power. I'll give you a decibel reading. Between 54 and 56 decibels. Carbon monoxide. Yeah, it's like 30 plus. It's pretty badly tuned at the moment. A lot of improvement to be had there. But I have to say, upon reflection, the Lavaner here does sound quieter. I don't know if it's the roar from the exhaust or the whine of the fan motor. It's a different whine. So obviously it's a lower pitched whine because it's a bigger fan spinning. It sounds different. I don't know if it's quieter. I'd like to draw you a picture of how I drew it. No, I'd like to draw you a picture of how I installed it in the camper van, which is basically have the heater as far away as humanly possible from the place you're sleeping and have the fuel pump outside. So we had ours under the front passenger seat and the bed was right up the back, fuel pump outside under the passenger seat, and when you were inside you could not hear it. You could barely hear the air rushing out of the vents. That's how quiet it was, and it was the cheapest diesel heater you could get off of Amazon at the time. Okay, allow me to flip-flop now between the 2 and the 5 running at maximum power. Okay, I have noticed that it's now at this full power, it's gone down to drawing 2 amps, which is not bad. 2 amps is a really nice low draw. So I don't know if that's it, brought itself down a bit, because it's pretty hot in here. Well, that was the Lavaner Pro 2 kilowatt first run, and it ran. It did not burst into flames, there were no explosions. I was pleasantly surprised that the factory tune was as close to optimal as you can get. Basically, it's pretty close. Obviously there are a few tweaks you could make to make it run even better, and it will depend whereabouts on planet Earth and at what altitude you live will depend on what tune you give it. Unlike the 5 here with its horrendous factory tunes. Granted, you get a lot of heat, but you're on the cusp of black smoke. You're riding the bleeding edge of running too rich. with the factory settings. Again, please buy a cheap carbon monoxide tester and turn it up or down depending on what readings you get and how much carbon monoxide you're prepared to have. But yeah, this was pretty quiet. I mean, they were both about the same decibel level at that distance of 1.5 meters. Again, the further away you get, the quieter it gets. For every time you double the distance, you quarter the sound or something like that. You know, half the distance is a quarter of the loudness. Please Google how loudness works. But yeah. So I see Lavaner are supposed to have UK dealers, or looking for UK dealers, or setting up with UK dealers. If you want to buy any of their Lavaner heaters, oh God, Jesus, nearly dropped it. Thanks. If I get any information, I'll let you know if you want to ask me, and I'll hopefully reply with information on who's selling them. Obviously, they're available from AliExpress and hopefully eBay eventually. At the moment, you'll be able to get them. But these are like, well, we're going to call them like, they're the middle of the range. They're not the cheapest, nastiest. That one was like £80. It was the cheapest one you could get on eBay. And then, of course, your other ends, your actual Webasto's and Eberspacher's at like £2,000 for their diesel heaters. Or, you know, given £2,000 is that's like £2,000 is their top of the range, all singing, all dancing. You might be talking £800 to £1,000 for their kind of bottom of the range Webasto, Eberspacher, and the Lavaner. They've gone for the middle of the market, where they're using high quality, you know, good brand name components, but they're not charging like an arm and a leg for them. You'd be quite happy to put that in your motorhome, knowing that it's made of good non-melting plastic, etc., and it's got good, well-made electronics inside it. I'm going to try and not drop it this time. But yeah, as always, any comments, questions, anything else, leave a comment down below, or send me an email, or use Facebook. Anything, however you want. I'm quite happy to chat to people and answer questions, so on and so forth. With all that said, thanks for watching.